What is up, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans? Welcome back to another episode review and breakdown for the final season of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This time it is episode 10 of season 7, the final season. And this was a pretty interesting episode because after getting stuck in a time loop last week, the team is finally back on track and they're still stuck in the 1980s, but I mean, it's kind of a good thing because Nathaniel, Malick, and Sybil have teamed up to completely derail the time stream. So they need to be there to stop them and everything. So they got to get to work and solve all these problems here. But before I get into everything that went down in this episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I got to give a quick spoiler warning here. So if you have not seen the latest episode of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet, it was literally only on a couple hours ago at the time of recording this. So go away if you haven't seen it yet, but if you have, then enjoy this in-depth review and breakdown. Oh yeah. So let's jump right into it because the team has headed back to the lighthouse as a base of operations, with Deke's makeshift team of agents off getting trained to become legit S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. And when I say Deke's makeshift team of agents, of course I mean the Deke Squad, which, classic group. They're amazing. And we also get another good look at their merch in this episode as well. And I really want that now. Like, I want a Deke Squad shirt. Like, I'd totally wear that, like, literally every single day. That'd be so awesome to have. But unfortunately, I don't think that'll be happening anytime soon. But the time drive here is seemingly busted, at least for now. And the team turns its attention to Nathaniel Malick, the shady new baddie who should have died ages ago in the new time stream, and I honestly wish he did, because at this point he's kind of starting to remind me of like one of the villains from the earlier seasons of Smallville, like back when they were doing the villain of the week type thing. Like, he just feels like that type of villain, and I just don't like the character, although I guess that's a good thing because he's a villain and we're not supposed to like him, but he's just, annoying at this point. So let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about Nathaniel Malick? Like, do you like him? Do you not like him? How do you feel about him? So let me know. But he has leapt ahead of Hydra's old Inhuman experimenting and basically figured out how to steal the powers of Inhumans with blood and organ transfusions, as we saw a couple episodes ago with the bloody method of doing that with how he got Daisy's powers. Now he's figured out a safer way of doing it, because he's since perfected the process and has actually gotten quite handy with his own Quake powers as well, because if you think about it, he's actually technically had his powers longer than she has because, time travel and everything. But he is now building a team of superpowered baddies, stealing the abilities of Inhumans and pass them off to mercenaries and his own hand-picked soldiers. And one of those turns out to be a familiar face, John Garrett, who was played by the late Bill Paxton early in the show's run, all the way back in season 1. But back then, he was a longtime S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who turned out to be a Hydra double agent. But Malick reaches him when he's still a star recruit at S.H.I.E.L.D. and lures him to the dark side with the promise of superpowers. And I love how he is actually played by Bill Paxton's son in this episode, James Paxton, and he did a great job in this episode as the character. I just really overall love the character. He's honestly just a better character and villain than Nathaniel Malick, and I mean, like, go ahead, kill off Nathaniel Malick, and then keep this guy as the main villain. Like, I'd be totally fine with that. Like, I wouldn't complain if they killed off Nathaniel Malick. Actually, I'm all for it. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to be happening anytime soon. But anyway, Nathaniel Malick is also actually making full use of the time stream device here with Sybil inside, and even shows Garrett his future life in the original time stream, which is, yeah, kind of weird. But thanks to the time stream, Malick can anticipate pretty much any attack S.H.I.E.L.D. can muster, and captures the teleporting Inhuman Gordon and transfers his powers to Garrett. So now both Garrett and Malick have Inhuman powers, which is pretty crazy. And Malick wastes little time taking full advantage of those teleporting skills and jumps into the lighthouse to kidnap Simmons. Now the reason, well, apparently in every timeline where S.H.I.E.L.D. triumphs, it's because of the intervention of the long-missing Fitz. So Sybil wants Simmons to help find her husband so she can snuff them out once and for all. And here's hoping that means we'll finally get to know what Fitz has been doing all this time, assuming they can get past that mental block Simmons had installed, of course. And I'm thinking we may be seeing him in the next episode, hopefully. But yeah, I just want to see Fitz. Although there are rumors that he may only be in the series finale, which, you know, kind of sucks. Although it was announced, like, I think actually just today, that it's going to be, like, the final 2 episodes of the season are going to be, like, a 2-hour event. So we'll have next week's episode, and that'll be episode 12, and then the week after that we'll get... actually, no, next week is episode 11, and then the week after that we'll be getting episodes 12 and 13. So it's like, I guess, a 2-parter, like 2-hour series finale. So that's pretty crazy, and we may not be seeing Fitz until then. But this episode also featured the long-awaited reunion between Daisy and her mother, Jiaying, though technically it happens before Daisy's been born, so, you know, confusing. But as suspected, the Inhuman who went rogue and joined Malick is actually Daisy's sister, and Jiaying, that's her first daughter. She's actually the one who committed suicide before Daisy's birth in the original timeline, but now she's alive and evil, helping capture other Inhumans to siphon away their powers. And we do get a sweet moment or two between them, though it is brutally cut short when Malick, you know, snaps Jiaying's neck, you know, killing her before Daisy's even born. So she's definitely an anomaly in this time stream now, much like Deke and Mac. And I mean, at this point, I feel like the lesson of this season and the message is parents should die. I mean, literally, Daisy's mother, she dead. Mac's parents, they dead. For Deke, well, if it turns out Fitz is actually dead, then he dead. So parents, grandparents, it's not looking too well for them in this season. But we do also get a bit of ship vibes between Daisy and Sousa in the wake of that surprise kiss in the time loop last week, and Simmons is definitely picking up what they're throwing down, which is really interesting. So yeah, there's that. And if you've been watching my past couple episode reviews, you know how I feel about that relationship going on there. But also, fun Easter egg alert here. When Garrett is catching up on his future life in the time stream, he also gets to watch a few of Coulson's death to make him feel better because he does witness his own death, and he's like, yeah, you just blasted me with an alien blaster or whatever. And then so he was telling Coulson about every single death that he witnessed of Coulson's, and then Coulson was like, oh, which one is your favorite? And then I love how Garrett was just like, oh yeah, I really like that one where the long-haired creepo stabbed you with the pointy stick. Like that's a clear reference to Loki in the first Avengers movie. Of course, Coulson's first very original death. Of course, he's had many since then. But I just love that. It's a huge reference to that, and I mean, just gotta love the callbacks there. Though back to the story here, because the team does manage to rescue most of the Inhumans from Jiaying's old commune, and Coulson captures Daisy's sister as well. But Malick takes advantage of their absence and Garrett's teleportation to capture the Zephyr. So that's right, the bad guys have stolen the time ship now. And thankfully, Deke is still on board. But at the same time, that's also not a good thing because now he's trapped in there with a bunch of bad guys. But they don't know that. So I guess that's a benefit there as well because he had his headphones on here this whole time because he was below deck working on the ship. And I love how he had the Walkman and everything, and very Star-Lordish, literally the same exact looking headphones that Star-Lord has in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So I love that. But other than that, I mean, it was already becoming clear this season would take a greatest hits kind of approach to the SHIELD canon, but it's turning into one heck of a ride. We have Inhumans, Hydra, and now Garrett in the mix. I mean, what's next? I mean, we only have 3 episodes left, but is someone bringing the framework online a few decades early? Ending the series with this time travel adventure has definitely been such an effective way to play in the sandbox this show has spent 6 amazing years creating prior to this. And I say let's just sit back and enjoy the ride. So I really enjoyed this episode. Wasn't as good as last week's episode because that was actually the highest rated episode of the entire series. So congratulations to Elizabeth Henstridge, who had her directorial debut with that episode, so that's super exciting. But I still really love this episode, and I'm excited for the final 3 episodes of the season, so make sure to stay tuned for my future videos on this season. Thanks so much for watching. Please let me know all your thoughts and theories on this episode and the final few episodes of this series down in the comments below. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit that subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.